We can't mislead the people that we actually had human characters, guys. We can't do that to them. Let's not leave our stories untold. Heya, welcome to Creators Lightbulb, the podcast about the indie animation community. I'm your host, Gigi, and in today's episode, I have with me...
I'm TranquilSatisfaction. A lot of people call me Trank, or like Tranquil or something of the sort.
Hello, I'm Ermadragon7, or Irma.
Hey, I'm Solielix, or just Sol.
We're in the works to not only stay inspired, but motivated. So whether you're looking to light your creative spark or struggling to keep that light bulb aflame, we got your back either way. Whether you're multitasking or relaxing, I hope you enjoy your time here, and without further ado, let's begin. Hey everybody, it's Gigi. Most of y'all know me as Silver or Emblem, as they were the more common ways to shorten my screen name. However, I thought of opting for a Creator's Lightbulb specific name. It's apparently been 3 years since my hiatus announcement, but I'm so happy to say we're officially back. I can't believe it's been 3 years. So much has changed for all of us. And I'm not just talking about my now mature voiceover. I'm giving Creators Lightbulb what I'm calling the soft reboot treatment. We're returning with more podcasting knowledge, a cleaner style, and a more polished vision. I'm so thankful for everyone that's been on this ride with me. For the first episode, it'll be a little different. I thought it'd be best to celebrate our return with a couple of familiar faces, or rather, voices. They've each had their own separate episode throughout season 1, but I think these 3 years have us due for some catch-up. So Trank, take it away.
Why are you making me go first?
I don't know. It's funny.
Yeah, so Trank was the creator of The Power of a True Hero, abbreviated endearingly to Towpath, or TPOATH. Don't know why we pronounced it Towpath this entire time. It was just easier. I don't know who calls it Topoath. She is also an animator working on projects that the general public doesn't know of yet, that we are totally not all involved in somehow in some way.
It'd be ominous.
But we're not here right now to talk about the current. We're here to talk about the past.
Oh,
a lovely time. So here's our little section called the light bulb, in which every creator has a spark in them somewhere, and we're figuring out how they got started, basically. So, Trank, what inspired you to get started?
Started like way back when.
We can go as far as you want to.
I guess that's always been a difficult question, because it's always like, I guess how inspirations always worked for me is just like, I've always wanted to do something, and then I take bits and pieces of inspiration from bits and places to where it's kind of hard to track down. But I guess, back in the day, I went on the internet, I saw these like people made their animated series, and I was like, whoa, I could do that. I could be a cool animator person. And so I learned how to animate very poorly, but I did. And then I just said, you know what? I want to start my little Sparkle Cat show. And so I guess it was just kind of a lot of little things that I saw, and also just this kind of desire that I just had that just grew from ever since I was a wee little child to just create stories and such.
When did Towpath debut again?
Episode 1 premiered September 19th, 2020. It was that COVID time. I said, I'm going to get started on my project.
Yeah, that's what many people said too.
Yep.
As we would come to figure out. But before that, you had Initiation, right?
Yeah, I did. Oh my God, Initiation. That was 5 years ago, August 19th, 2019. So that was my first big thing. It was 34 minutes, and it's in the same world of Towpath. And basically, I just wanted to dip my toes in the water because I'd never animated a big project before. And And so I really wanted to, I actually think I did it in linear order with scenes, which I have never done since. But I basically voice acted the entire thing myself because I just didn't want to deal with like the whole casting call, like, thing when I wanted to prove to myself that I was actually going to be able to make a project and everything. So that's why I just kind of recorded, like, just did all the voice acting myself. I was a child, so they all sounded like squeaky children. None of them had different voices. The animation was interesting. Everything was interesting, but I had fun.
And isn't that the most important element? FUN.
Yep.
But that was like really the first big project that made you go like, I mean, for me, it was just like storyboarding episode 1, but like it's kind of giving you permission to like branch out to other people and be like, I want to do this for real.
Exactly. I like the kind of test for yourself to be sure it's kind of the thing you want to do, because it's a little hard to gauge sometimes of like, okay, do I actually have the dedication to want to do this full entire like 30, like 20, however long minute episodes, multiple of them, for this whole project. It was mostly just the community in general I saw, and I was like, ooh, I can do that.
And you did do that. I am very proud of you.
Because I always had like this weird pride thing about taking too much inspiration from one source for some reason when I was a little child. So I was like, no, I'm not going to ever like take too much inspiration from one thing. I want to keep it all, because I never wanted to copy something. That was like a big fear of mine. And so I was very like, so it was kind of just a lot of the community in general, I guess. It's mostly where it was.
Yeah, because a lot of the thing about like inspiration is that like if you draw from one source, then you have the chance to make it an accidental blatant copy. So I think it's good that you had that fear, but also like you're allowed to get inspired. It happens. So like that's interesting.
I mean, it was so much so, it was just a weird pride thing for me as a kid, because like it was so much so to where when I started art in general, I just wouldn't look at references.
Oh.
Yeah, where it took me so long to get a grasp on anatomy because I just straight up didn't look at references until I was like, that's really stupid.
Yeah, that's when you take it a little bit too far.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Did you have any projects before Towpath?
Not really, but Towpath, like, it was all sort of Towpath. Like, it's like, it was a bunch of things that kind of turned into Towpath. Like, it was a story, like, I always wanted this big story that I had that was, like, my little baby project. And what that was just changed so much, but it was all, like, a lot of it just kept the same element to it. It was all, like, little ideas here and there that all kind of changed a lot and that I had a very vague grasp of when I was little. And eventually it kind of shifted and just turned into Towpath. And Towpath changed so many different times because of that. Like, there were old versions where I was inspired by stuff, actually, I think. Like, I remember this one. Actually, there was this one iteration of Towpath that was sort of Merlin, BBC Merlin style inspired.
Really?
Yeah, except not really. Like, taking anything from Merlin other than I wanted 40-minute episodes and I wanted there to be a big reveal at the end, and that was all. That was the only
That is it.
That was like 10-year-old me.
I am glad that that's the inspiration.
Yeah, that was
BBC Merlin.
That was one of them way back when, for some distant one. And then there were like other shows that I would watch, and then I'd be like, no, I want to do. It was more so like format styles that I got inspired by back then, and I just threw all of those out the window. Like, I just threw out those in the trash like over and over again, basically. Until finally I remember where Towpath was actually born was on a trip. It was a really long trip out of the country, and I just kept staying in the hotel because I was just really inspired to like work on my story, and my family was like, hey, let's go outside. I was like, no, I want to think about my Sparkle Cat show that's just developing in my head right now. And so that's where the first iteration Topaz was born, because I remember thinking to myself on the trip, okay, what am I going to do for the casting call? What are the personality traits I don't have personality traits for them. This is undeveloped. I need to develop this.
You feel the molecules of characters developing in your brain.
Yep.
Can you give us a summary of Topaz?
That's the hard question. Can you give us a summary of Topaz?
Is there a summary?
Is there a summary to be had?
Topaz is LSD.
Pretty much, yeah. Topaz is what happens if you take too many drugs. Topaz, I guess I will do my best. So it's about this kid, Lucas, who's like this 14-year-old boy, and he is a sparkle cat, and he's a kitten.
We can't mislead the people that we actually had human characters, guys. We can't do that
Why
to them.
not?
I wish. No. He is this 14-year-old cat boy. Is that word? Cat boy. No, it's like a bad.
Sure, why not? He walks on four legs and goes meow.
Except he also talks. And for some reason, the cats in this universe are like human-sized in terms of how tall they are. So Lucas is 5 feet tall, and that is disturbing.
He's my height, almost.
And his friend Shard is 6'4", I think he was. Despite being 15 years old, because giant.
You better get into basketball.
No kidding. Basically, though, summary. So Lucas is episode 1 does not matter at all. It's basically just filler. We find out that these two things called Crimson Eyes and Sheer Eyes exist. So there's the normal cats, and then there's the Crimson Eyes, and then there's the Sheer Eyes. Crimson Eyes are like cats that have jaundice and magic powers. The Sheer Eyes are ones that have like glowy neon eyes and magic powers, but their magic powers are so much different because they have the same exact power as every other Sheer Eye, so they can teleport and are very strong, whereas the Crimson Eyes have different powers. And basically, Lucas is a Sheer Eye that really hates Crimson Eyes, and he thinks they suck because he just really wants to hate people, I guess. Lucas sucks, and he just wants to go on his little power ego trip because for some reason I thought it would be a great idea to make a show about a 14-year-old boy who's going on a power trip. Like, anybody wants to see that. So
I mean, it clearly worked on all three of us, so, you know.
Yep. So then he gets paint dumped on him and becomes a superhero.
Guys, I wish I could tell you this was exaggerated, but it's really not. I know the episodes are unlisted now, but like you can still watch them on her channel. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
So I'm basically skipping to episode 2 because episode 1 only has exposition about the Crimson Eyes and Sheer Eyes. That's literally all episode 1's purpose is, and to introduce a useless character that never comes back again. And then, episode 2, Lucas becomes a superhero, and then he names himself Thunder because he gets magical paint dumped on him. But I will later clarify in the show that this is not actually paint. It just looks exactly like paint. It functions like paint, except for it changes your genetics around. So Lucas now has an alternate form where he's tall and he's blue.
Okay.
He was an orange cat before because of course he was. Lucas is an orange cat. And
that's an insult to orange cats.
That is, honestly. But yes, now he's some weird blue superhero man who hates Crimson Eyes, and he fights Crimson Eyes because the Crimson Eyes are all coming out of like some sort of cult or whatever, and so a lot of the Crimson Eyes are bad, except Lucas thinks all of the Crimson Eyes are bad. And then he meets a prince just pretending to not be a prince and pretending to be a normal dude, whose name is Shard, which is such a stupid name, but he goes by Moss in his disguise because Shard's prince name, whatever. So he befriends Lucas as not Prince. And for some reason, this reveal takes till episode 9 to get revealed. Don't ask me why. I didn't care about it at the time. It wasn't even really a thing at the freaking time. I just was like, sure, I'll wait on it. Why not? And so, yes, Lucas is hanging out with the prince. But you see, the prince has edgy, dark secrets, and that he actually just does not, he wants to conceal, not feel. And Lucas is like, no.
He just turned off his emotions like a light switch.
He did. He went, no more
Emotions.
emotions.
I wish.
Shara's gotta let it go.
Yes.
Learn how to let go.
And so that's the gist, is those are the two main characters. Then later on, things happen, and there's a villain called Igneous, I guess, and then Lucas also has some weird friends, like Seafoam, who's just a gremlin, and like Cyrus, who's the bully, and then his two useless friends, one of them Flare, who later just wants to kill him because he's so annoying, and no, I'm not kidding.
As you do.
Then Lucas's father gets introduced randomly, even though he has no plot relevance whatsoever. He's just here to say hi, I guess. So that's my attempt to summarize Topeth.
Wait, who is the other friend? I know who it is, but
Opal.
Yes, Opal is also useless entirely.
Opal was better than all of them, and at the end of the day, he left. Good for her.
It was basically a show where I went, idea, yes. Idea, yes. Idea, yes.
we were all casted in Topeth,
Yes.
like way back when. I played Jasmine, and I was going to play Cyrus's little brother Storm.
Oh,
That was fun.
Yeah.
Soul is
Igneous.
I was Igneous, and I was gonna play Cyrus's grandma too, I think.
Try Chocholine, whatever her name is.
TNT.
Yeah, I think one time of like season 5, Midnight adopts another child that she was joking that I would end up voicing too, cause lol. Cause Midnight needed something better than Lucas, and I guess that's not Jade.
Screw you,
So true.
Emma's who voiced who?
I voiced Midnight. I haven't done this voice in a long time. Wow. The mom voice. And the other mom, the terrible one. The Hazel, the queen. Yeah. My inadvertently, who I voiced both of the main characters' mothers.
Yep.
What is it? I guess I'm British now. I also inadvertently gave them both an addiction to food. Midnight gets mashed potatoes and Hazel gets cheesecake. Don't know where that came from, but yeah, it was. I don't know why I did that, but
I don't know.
I genuinely don't. I don't know
We
where
all kind of just added our little quirks.
I don't know where cheesecake came from. Nobody knows. I needed help. But yeah, the Midnight voice changed too, because I remember initially auditioning, and the take that Trank used for my audition, like the casting call results, was like the most Southern thing I had ever said. It was like the really Southern take that I accidentally did. Your father? Wait, you wanted to know about him? Why would you want to know about him? So that was funny.
That is funny.
But then because I wasn't even doing a mom voice, because I remember auditioning for Midnight and not knowing she was a mother. And then I found out after I was cast, and I was like, oh, maybe I should make her sound like a mom and not like a, I don't know, 20-year-old squeaky girl. So I dropped the pitch and added the monotone. Is my typecast.
All right, now that you have a solid plan, I guess your boy's gonna head off. I hope you two have fun.
I remember Jasmine's voice was, was like baby. It was so baby. It was
very baby.
I was 15.
You're like,
I don't know how to have it. Yeah, surely your concerns are valid, your majesty. I remember that line to a T.
Surely your concerns are valid, Your Majesty.
And then, what was it? Trank DM'd me and was like, here's some audition lines for Igneous and Hazel. And then I got Hazel for that, so.
We'll have to solve this problem sometime. For now, I have matters to attend to elsewhere.
Yeah, and then I sent Soul the Igneous and Hazel because I was just like, we preach. So
Soul came later.
Yeah, Igneous's voice was unfortunate.
It was beautiful.
I guess if anyone needs a reminder of what the Igneous voice sounds like, I can barely do it anymore. It hurts my throat, but it was a joke.
And it's hard being constantly insulted by Jasmine every single day.
It was just a joke. I had too much time before she actually got lines to voice her, so I ended up making a lot of jokes about her, and it kind of just, it was part of the whole problem with Topaz of idea, let's do it. So she turned into this weird, goofy crack lady who was honestly too stupid to really do anything, but somehow she still did. Also,
Good point.
also like
Wow.
Hazel simped for her, just straight up simped for her, and they got married at one point. They were gonna get married.
About that.
Yeah, they were gonna canonically get married against Igneous's will, which was honestly, I that is the one regret I have of never getting to see that animated. That would have, yeah. Igneous was gonna get herself f***ed over so bad that f***ing Hazel married her. So
yeah, I apologize. I apologize for involving any of you in this little.
it's okay. I got to meet you out of it, so
I know, that is the great thing about Towpath. I met my friends.
What has been the biggest change since your last episode, would you say? That Topaz got canceled?
Oh yeah, pretty much. And there have been people like kind of speculating before on kind of why I canceled it. I gave a bit of a brief explanation in my episode 12, which was the last one that was released, like the description of that episode, but it really was just my changing interests and kind of moving on from the story. I took a break from it, and I just took a break because I was doing other projects, and then after like taking that break, I just kind of started to realize that I didn't like Towpath and like kind of all the flaws in it. And nowadays it's just, and I was just so, like in the last episode, I was so like fixated on it and was like my everything. And it was like my little baby. And I just kind of grew to realize like, I'm not it's just not really something I'm proud of. It's not really something I want to continue. And I just don't even really feel like I ever want to go back to it either. Like, I guess that was up in the air for a little bit, and of like, oh, would I one day kind of change it into something else? But that was also kind of the last part of the journey I took, I guess. It's just like, I don't really think that, because if I were to change Towpath into something that I'd actually want to do, then it wouldn't be Towpath anymore, is just kind of where it would be. I just think it would just be so much different to what it was.
All right, Emma, you're next.
Oh, cool.
Emma, what inspired you to get started?
I was a Warrior Cats kid.
it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay, they're there. They're there.
Okay, but like not entirely. Pseudo Warrior Cats. I have dyslexia and I hate reading. And I had a friend who was really into Warrior Cats and told me I needed to get into the book. And so I said, okay, but I hate reading. So I went on the internet to see if there was a movie, because there's a lot of movie adaptations books, like, Harry Potter and stuff. So I didn't know how big the book series was.
And there still isn't one.
Exactly. Well, because there's a million books. So I was like, okay, there's got to be a movie, right? And instead of finding a movie, I found SS Warrior Cats, the animated thing from forever ago. And I watched the first couple of episodes because I think that was even before, like, what was it? The Tiger Star episode was out or something? I don't remember. I haven't looked at it in ages, but like, it was a long time ago. And I found SS Warrior Cats and I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. And so I started watching. I was like, where are the rest of the episodes? Like, cause I thought it was a professionally made TV show. And like somebody had like recorded it and put it online. That's what I thought it was. Granted, this was back in middle school, by the way, just so you know. And what was it? And so, yeah, I saw it, that, and then I found one of the animators who worked on it posting a tutorial video on how they animated SS Warrior Cats, and I was like, wait a minute, you don't have to be like a professional artist to do that? And I hadn't even started drawing yet. I didn't know how to draw. And I was like, that's really cool. I want to do that. And so like, it was more of a sense of like, whoa, a normal person with like could make animations. I didn't even fathom that was an idea that something could happen. So that's when I really started like trying to draw, because from then on, but before then I was just really into Pokemon, and I just like started drawing like, what was it? See, it's funny that Trank says she never used references, but that's all I did was I would look at a picture of like the Pokemon on the Pokedex and then try to draw the Pokemon. Yeah, that's what I started doing. And then I found that and I was like, holy crap, that's a thing you can do? I want to do that. And so I told my mom that, and she got me like this really early version of Toon Boom, like forever. It was on like a disc, like before the subscription crap. Like it was a disc that I put in my thing, and I didn't understand it at all, and I didn't even know what a drawing tablet was. So I'm sitting here with my trackpad on a laptop trying to draw a cat. And so then I finished that one, and I was like, okay, but like, how do I make it move though? So that was really funny. But that's like early like baby Irma stuff. So that's basically like how I started getting into it. But I didn't like really pick up animation for a hot minute, because then I started seeing like the multi-animator project stuff, and I was like, I want to try to do that stuff too. And I had a lot of like laptop issues as a kid growing up, because like a lot of our laptops and like computers just weren't very good and just would explode all the time. Not like literally, but like, you know, they just like,
as they do
work. So I tried like using like my school iPad on like these free like animation apps that just weren't very good. So I made like these quick like, and I think it's still up on my channel, like this this animation dump video. If it's not, it's probably unlisted now, but I can check. But like, I would just make these like, okay, some of them are on like my 2014 to 2019 animation rail, but I would just make like these little like 2-second like running animations and stuff on these like crap terrible apps that like was basically me trying to learn how to animate and stuff. And it wasn't until like my senior year of high school when I started like really getting into like Danganronpa and what is it, Ace Attorney and stuff, that I like really actually wanted to try drawing. So that was really fun. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into art and animation.
Did you have any series before your main one, which we will talk about very soon?
Yeah, I had a couple. What was it? Not really like series. They were more just like weird little character ideas, but like I never really like developed a plot around them. I mostly got invested in like, because this is when I like got into, because around the time that I found SS Warrior Cats is also when I found the animation series community as well. And I got way more into that than the Warrior Cat stuff. I just also, that's when I found like voice acting, and I was like, oh my god, wait, these are also like not professional people. You can just voice act like with your crappy iPhone microphone. I want to do that. So I kind of fell into that niche of both of them. And so I basically would like make these characters and stuff that like I would think about like maybe I would want to make a story around them, but they were just characters that I like would draw to like practice drawing. Like I remember like, what was it, like Happy the Wolf, which was like this like, or Fox thing that was like this my Animal Jam character that I, because I played a lot of Animal Jam as a kid. And I just would like make him a human, and then I gave him like a friend group, and then like a little dragon buddy, and then I would just draw them a lot. Would be like my draw. Like there was no story. They were just like, 3 friends living in a house with a pet dragon. Hell yeah!
Wait, I think this unlocked a memory. You had a casting call for like this orange lion thing.
Oh no, that was before. I forgot about that one entirely. Lol. The person who voices Gracie, I think it's Homebrewed Monster now. It's changed a lot. It used to be Owl of the Galaxy. Now we were really good friends, and that's when that's like the major warrior cat. Like we met on our like warrior cats thing, and we got really close, and we started developing that story together. Was like, oh my god, I don't even remember what it's called. It was like a Aura something. I genuinely don't remember.
I think it changed a couple of times.
Yeah,
Auras.
Well, it was also because I couldn't spell. Like, I think it was Aurora. It was Aurora Wind. That's what it was. Yeah, it was basically a journey show with like magic powers and stuff to go beat. It was like Avatar, but less cool because a child made it. Before I had
and with animals
and foxes. Because like before I had. I like completely forgot that even existed.
I don't know how I remembered. I thought that's what you were talking about just now.
No, it wasn't. I genuinely forgot about that. That one I made in like middle school. The weird humans living in a house was high schoolish. And then
is that the Cabin Wagon Killer
no,
original edition?
That was after that. There was a lot, yeah. Because even before Cabin Wagon, I got really into Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. I had a lot of inspirations. I really liked The Legend of Zelda and all that. I was like, I want to make like a sword-fighting, swashbuckling pirate because I really like pirates and stories with pirates. So I was like, I'm going to make it like a swashbuckling something, and then that never happened. I don't even have drawings of that. It was just a thought I had at the time. And then eventually I got really into the murder mystery genre, and that's when Cabin Wagon was born, and it is the most generic plot in millennia, and I'm really glad I stopped making it before it became a thing. Because first of all, I couldn't draw people. What are these claw fingers? Somebody get these children some help. So I, what is it? Basically it was like, 12 kids in a cabin. There was some sort of research project. None of them knew each other. And then oopsie, one of them gets murdered, lol. And then eventually Cabin Wagon got dropped. And I don't even know why it was called Cabin Wagon. Yes, there was a cabin. Where'd the wagon come from? How would I know? I genuinely don't know. I did keep a lot of the characters and then just TMAO DDCified them. Like literally all of the new characters were in Cabin Wagon proper. I think I just cut a few of them. Like there was a Lewis, which is funny because I didn't turn him into James Lewis. That just was a coincidence.
So transitioning from very concerning human version of Cabin Wagon to TMAO DDC to Modesty, how we abbreviated it.
The Marvelous Adventures of Danny DeCamp, because I don't think I've said that yet. That is an acronym. That is not a title.
The Marvelous Adventures of Danny DeCamp. Yes, the actual title. It was recently canceled.
Yes.
In the midst of season 2.
Yes.
Would you like to give us a summary of what TMAO DDC was about?
Yes. The Marvelous Adventures of Danny DeCamp is about a frog and a dead rat going on adventures to solve crimes. They are a private detective unit that is solving little mini crimes that seem to be attached to some sort of bigger crime going on in their sewer system known as Nabrooks. Frank is a kind of mild-mannered, people-pleasy type of guy, and Danny's a little outbursty, egotistical, arrogant jerk. And together, they make the pair that can get anything done, so to speak. Danny is inspired by the likes of Sherlock Holmes and has a similar, observy power to him that helps him to, solve crimes, while Frank is more of the emotional one who, actually talks to people like they're people and tries to, help them out and stuff, while Danny seems to just be getting a kick out of this.
Yeah. And it was a murder mystery-esque show with sewer animals, yes. Inspired by, Ace Attorney and Danganronpa, I think, right?
Yeah.
So with that project, you may return to it someday. Who knows? Who knows? But you're not revealing any information.
No, I'm not. Which is mean of me, but I don't care. I'm just kidding. What is it? It's one of those things that I've been on the fence for a while, because it's I don't see myself animating it anytime soon, but I'm really proud of the plot. in like the stories. I do think my characters were lacking quite a bit, mostly because like writing murder mystery is so hard. Like there's so many things that you have to think about, and especially if you're going to write a good murder mystery, because there's like, again, like I remember saying this in the like previous podcast that we did together, but like there's not a lot of like mystery series that I would like deem as like good mysteries. Like BBC Sherlock, for example, I love that as a show. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. Would I say it's a good mystery show? Not really. It's more of a drama. Like, there's no, like, things that, like, the audience can, like, pick up on them by themselves and put the pieces together themselves to solve it. Like, that's what I like about mystery, is, like, the audience, like, participation in that is like, oh, wow, I noticed this little detail that the characters noticed. That's cool. I'm, like, participating with them. That's what I like about the murder mystery genre a lot. Or just the mystery genre in general. And so that's kind of what like I wanted to do, because like I didn't see a lot of that in the YouTube community creative space at all. And so I was like, you know what? I want to try. Let me throw my hat into the ring despite not being a writer and not knowing what I'm doing and blah, 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 blah. So I was like, yeah. And you know what? I think it turned out okay.
I think it turned out more than okay.
Hyper focused on the story. I didn't develop the characters as well as I should have. Like, I think Danny is like my most developed character, and I think he's the strongest character. But like, I feel like I'm lacking, like, Frank's another main character, but I feel like he's really lacking as a main character compared to Danny, because he is such a force to be reckoned with. Like, I like Frank. I just wish there was more to him. Like, he had like that mini internal conflict about being small and weak and stuff, but like, it's not, I don't feel like that's explained well, and I don't feel like it's touched on well, because I was trying to fit a lot into 6-ish episodes, which I don't regret, because like, I was a one-person team, and all I wanted to do was finish case 1, and I did that. So, like, mission accomplished.
You don't see a lot of the mystery genre in like this small like YouTube series community, and the animals that you chose to draw and like have your characters be represented as is also like entirely unique. Like, not everyone can say that their main character is like a frog, you know. And like I've seen like a couple of mystery shows like pop up, and I'm gonna give all the credit to you, because I think you pioneered it. I'm just saying, like, I don't say that lightly.
I'm just like cool like that, I guess. No, I'm just kidding. But like, I mean, like, I'm happy that more people are dipping their toes into it, because it is an interesting genre, and I think it's really cool. And it is just so freaking hard to write, man. There's so many things that you have to think about that you don't realize you have to think about until you're like outlining it. My biggest struggle with case 2 especially was making sure that characters weren't in 2 places at once, because that's so hard. I'm like not to like say like spoil anything, but basically whoever the serial killer cabin wagon person is, I'm like, well, I want you to hang out with the group, but I also need you to go murder people. So one of my biggest pet peeves is when the audience knows more information than the characters, and it's just like, oh my god, dude, we know the answer. Like, you just like it's because then it makes the main characters look like idiots, and I don't want the main characters that are supposed to be smart to look like idiots. So basically I would have these like characterization scenes, so that way we still see the character. Like, every time that, like, say Frank and Danny go from point A to point B, you'll notice like every time they're moving from one location to another location, I put in a little scene in the middle that goes to a different character. So that way, like, they can still participate, and they aren't just like off the face of the earth. My rule that I tried to get to myself was, if one of the characters isn't in the previous episode, they'll be in the next one, was what I tried to do. So that way I could, make sure like my character balancing was okay. And obviously it became way easier once characters started getting picked off and I didn't have to worry about them reappearing.
What do you think your biggest change has been since recording your episode?
Basically having more, like, I guess, like, trying to have more professionalism in my work and trying to take it more seriously. Not that I didn't take The Marvelous Adventures of Danny DeCamp seriously, but it's like I cut a lot of corners in the art department, and I'm mostly talking about the art department rather than the writing department. Because, like, oh my god, what are those backgrounds? They're ugly. They're boring. There's nothing in them. This is a place where people live, right? Like, I know the whole point is that the sewer's supposed to be barren and kind of suck, but, like, oh my god, boring. Like, what is this design? It's terrible. What are these compositions? They're terrible. And so I'm like, now I'm trying to, like, push myself to, like, have better compositions and better lighting and better, like, everything in the art department. I think my animation was fine. Like, later on, obviously, we don't talk about it when it's ugly, but like, what is it? Like, it obviously got better as I practiced, but now I'm just kind of striving to like actually hold myself to a standard. So, yeah,
I think that's cool.
Yeah, like,
and you also finished case 1.
Yes, I did.
That was fun.
I did. I just remember like episode 5, like the finale, like having like such a like panic attack. I'm like, everyone's gonna hate it. They're gonna say that it sucks.
But like, it didn't suck.
It couldn't. It was good. I know. I am legitimately proud of the work that I have put in.
That's good.
Legitimately, I'm still proud of some of the twists that I came up with later on. That's part of the reason why I'm keeping it a secret is because like I just don't know. Like the only trouble is like my fixations are somewhere else at the moment, and I think I would like hardcore try to think about like character stuff, but it's kind of hard to do that now that the characters are already established is the problem. So I don't know. I maybe I will, maybe I won't. Again, if I won't, I'll reveal everything. But for now, I'm still like, maybe. Who knows?
Toidle was the ultra killer all along. Sorry.
What the hell, dude? What the hell? What did we just say, you jerks? Guys, Toidle's plot relevance was so strong, man.
All right, moving right along to our final person, last but not least, Soul, as they slowly move out of frame from our webcam. What inspired you to jump into this community? Warrior Cats.
No. Yeah, it was Warrior Cats and Undertale probably. Well, not this community, I guess, but kind of. That was part of my art journey. But yeah, no, Warrior Cats. I was little and in middle school they had these like funny kitty books in the like, yeah, for like people to read, and I was like, I have cats. Those are cats. I'm gonna read about the cats. That's gonna be some top tier stuff there.
Do you remember your first book?
My first book was Fire and Ice. It's this, so I did pick the right
second
arc.
one.
Yeah, but it was the second book. So suffice to say, I was really confused. Like, I don't know what's happening. Who's anyone here? Who is Fire, whatever he was at the time? I was very confused. And then eventually I found the right book and then started. I was like, oh, okay. And then I was obsessed with it. I was literally obsessed with it. I like inhaled the whole like series that was out at the time in like a week. And I got like my middle school friend into it too. I'm so sorry. And I obsessed over it so much that I started looking up Warrior Cats because I wanted to buy more books, and then I saw it on YouTube. I was like, oh, kitties animated, and I was just obsessed, and I would see all the maps and stuff, and I was so inspired, and I was like, whoa, that's so cool. Luckily, unlike those two, I was banned from like posting on the internet and stuff, so I was luckily spared from anyone ever having to see that or having to do that when I was like 11. But that's where I created. But that Warrior Cats was what inspired the characters that I would end up trying to, like, I would end up making into, like, a whole story later on. It started off as, like, little characters in their own little, like, Warrior Cats story. Shadow, like, one of the characters, Shadow, she used to be Shadow Stripe. I wonder what she looked like.
She had spots all over.
Yeah. And she was like my little vent OC that I just traumatized because lol. Yeah, the poor thing. She was like small and tiny and miserable and had the worst life ever. And then one of the other characters I had, Hayes. She was Scar Eye. I wonder what she looked like.
She could see through both eyes.
Yeah, she's, I don't even know. And she had like a super edgy backstory. I don't even remember the first version of it, but it was always edgy. I don't know. I just thought scars were cool. And that's the literal reason. It was just like, that's so cool. I'm going to be awesome and give my OC scars. I'm going to call her Scar Eye.
Well, in that defense, like Warrior Cats' elders were like named like kind of insane in the beginning of like One Eye.
Oh yeah, very
Right?
ableist. Very
Love
much
Warrior
like
Cats.
you. And then the last main character, I guess, the blue one, Christelle. She was entirely unrelated to Warrior Cats, actually. This was when I started turning that story, which is called Crystal Clear, into its own thing. Because eventually, as I got older, I started being tired of Warrior Cats because, oh gosh, I would be here for days if I tried to explain it. But misogyny and ableism inside. I just wanted to make my own thing, and as I was on YouTube a lot, eventually I started getting recommended these like little animated series. Whoa. I don't even fully remember what the first one I watched was. It might have been Wolf Song, I think it was called. I don't know.
Wolf Song changed my life, and I
think it
stand
was
by
Wolf
it.
Song, something of the regard. And so I would watch those, and I was like, "Dang, it's so cool!" And I would draw my characters, and it was like, "Yeah, this is awesome! I have my own OCs and stuff, and they're so cool." And then COVID hit. I mean, not at all the greatest time, the greatest year of all, and I was bored. I had nothing to do. I was like, well, this sucks. But as I was watching, I started learning these things called casting calls existed, and that you could audition without any experience. Whoa. And I thought that was awesome. So
I mean, in a way, it still is awesome.
It still is awesome. It's a great way to get your toes in something. I never thought about voice acting before, but I thought it was like a fun thing. I was like, acting sounds fun. I like being expressive. I never had the guts to be a theater kid because the idea of having to act in front of a bunch of people scared the living bejesus out of me. So it was like getting to do that behind a screen in an anonymous name, sick. So yeah, the first like thing I auditioned for was actually what was it? A Tall Tale?
A Tall Tale.
Yeah, Cat Warriors series. And I auditioned for that via my phone in my backyard while it was raining.
Sometimes that's just the way to go. We actually met there first instead of Towpath. And it was just kind of us. And I guess like
I wasn't there though.
Emma was there too.
Yeah, no, Trank wasn't there. So that was the first series I ever got into. I remember saying I got cast as like the main character and was like, what? And I had a mental breakdown. Not actually. It was just like,
was that the first role you auditioned for?
Yeah.
Wow.
Hence why I was like, what the hell? Why did I get cast?
Sometimes it's the first role you audition for, and then sometimes you have to wait 4 years.
I was the 4 years type of person.
4 years.
I had a knack for getting roles, I think. Actually, I did get a lot of them. It's just that they were like roles for like these 12-year-olds series that would like become in permanent hiatus like 1 week after I'd get casted.
Yeah.
So I was in like 20 servers of just no one ever getting back to me because it was a bunch of like children who were like, yeah, we'll start a series. But that's a whole thing. But yeah, so that's how I got into voice acting. And because I saw all these other people doing their own anime series, that's when I started considering like, what if I turn my story that is super developed totally into its own thing? And I even posted like a character's design in Cat's like server, like, hey, any critique? And that's how I met Irma, or Texan. That's how I met Irma.
Like 80 million stripes. And like very complicated, and I was like, "Oh my god, please spare your sanity."
Yeah, my design philosophy back then was leave nothing untouched.
Insane philosophy.
What is breathing room? No one needs that.
Oh, more means better.
Yeah.
Yeah, always, totally.
Yeah, and then after that, I just kind of floated around, and eventually ended up going seeing this show. I don't know what show it was at all. This little Sparkle Cat show, and I was like, dang, that's cool. That's some dope. I loved it. I ate it. I loved it. For some reason, I loved it, and I joined the server, and I think, yeah, no, I just chilled in the server and would like talk in the VCs and stuff with people who would eventually be my friends. And then eventually, after talking to them, eventually I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make my own series with Crystal Clear. And that's when I actually realized, wait, this isn't a developed story. Oh, so I started developing the story.
Back to the drawing board.
So the story was just that these freak sparkle kitties, they lived in these kingdoms. The kingdoms were at war once, and it was like the sun and moon kingdoms. But I thought I would be cool and edgy and different, so I named them like Solaris something. So it was like Solaris was one of the sun kingdom. The moon kingdom was like lunar. Blah, blah, blah. It was like French for sun and moon. So then all I remember is that when they merged, they were called Solunaire. And because I thought that was so cool. And yeah, no, and then, but things didn't go well because the kingdoms just got merged because lol. It was like we shouldn't kill each other. And yeah. And then so the pitch, I guess, was that these free sparkle kitties got put together in this little like guild that's supposed to help recover with recovering the state of the kingdom, as everyone is arguing and not happy that they had to merge. And the plot was lol. Unlike the opposite of Irma, I always had more fun developing the characters themselves as opposed to the plot. I always hated like actually having to figure out the story because I just wanted to focus on the characters and their interactions. So the characters were super detailed and had all these analyses and stuff that I would like send essays of to my friends, and they'd have to just put up with it, and they still do to this day. Sorry. And yeah, no, and I was obsessed with the characters, and I added way too many though, because I was inspired by towpath writingism, and I thought it was, and yeah, I wanted more characters, and I loved them too much to delete them, and then it got cluttered. It's like I started getting to where I was starting to like cast some of my friends and stuff. I was starting to work on like outlines and scripts, and like I was like I had an idea for the story and where it would go, and it just kind of went. Because I realized I actually don't really have much motivation for this, and if I really started it and tried to force myself to do it, I wouldn't be happy with it. So it was just kind of something that existed for a little bit, and then I was like, nah. So it faded into oblivion, and I'm honestly glad that it did, as opposed it would have probably been cool to get some experience doing animation or something from it, but it wouldn't have really lasted or gone anywhere. And yeah, I'm on to better things and like stories that I'm actually proud of now and like have a lot of fun doing now.
And they were all cats.
They were no more cat. Now I struggle to draw animals so hard. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, one thing that's changed between like all of us is like we don't really draw animals much anymore.
Not really,
which is kind of funny to think of.
It is kind of funny.
I used to hate drawing like humanoids and stuff because it was like, ew, they're gross and boring. I got forced into humanism by someone against my will.
You got into D&D, that's the problem.
Yeah, I got into D&D, and after making like a dragon person, I got forced to make a human and was like, why? And then I eventually realized, though, for drawing the human and getting obsessed with the stupid human, the stupid human, like, oh wait, they're actually kind of fun to draw, though. Huh.
Before we get into more of D&D, because that kind of combines all of us, is there any current projects that you are doing or interested in doing, Sol?
At this point, I'm mostly focused on like college and trying to figure out what I want to do with my life, what my life is, and who I even am. Yeah.
Existentialism.
Existentialism. So, Krista Clear is dead. Rip and rest. I'm uncertain if I'll ever be someone who would host a whole series on my own, at least. But I'll at least I at least want to get to a point where I can make little animatics or PMVs or something and tell the character stories in another way. I have other characters maybe D&D that I'd love to just watch them move around and come to life. That's always been my favorite part about watching animations, is watching them come to life and move around and stuff.
What do you think your biggest change has been since your last episode?
Mostly just that I ended up getting into college. Yeah, and I realized that college was actually pretty cool. Ignore what high school says about college. They're lying to you. They like to say that it's super strict and the end of the world and that they'll destroy you there if you do anything wrong. No, just be present. Talk to your professors. They're not your parents. You don't have to ask to go to the bathroom anymore. They don't care. You can just walk out if you really wanted to. That's your own problem, though. Otherwise, it's really chill, and I really recommend it, especially when you're going into adultism and trying to learn how to be independent. And there's no shame in even just doing community college or something. That's what I'm doing. It's a nice experience. It's very worth it.
All together now. So, long story short with this, we have a future project together, and we're all involved in various degrees, and it involves a lot of D&D and a lot of D&D adaptation. I feel like Trank, you should provide the summary for Thickets of Etheldor.
There's a world where basically there is a human side of the world and then a non-human side. The human side is Keymore and the non-human side is Etheldor. And the main group is a few people from Keymore and a place in a kingdom called Thavia specifically. And they are hunting a beast basically, or they're going after a beast for varying reasons on the border between Etheldor and Keymore, which basically this border just ensures that nobody can pass through it. And somehow these humans are all launched into Etheldor, which shouldn't really be possible, and so they're just kind of trying to make their way back home, and they get themselves involved with way more than they had signed up for. So that's
I think that's a pretty solid summary of it, to be honest. I think it's kind of poetic how, we kind of outgrew all of our stories, but it all comes together, in this one. And in a way, we're all, writers. Not everyone's, an artist, but we all voice act in it. And it's, I submitted lines for it the other day in this time of recording. And, doing that was really fun, and I got to unlock that again and explore this character. I think the good thing about multiple writers, if you guys are all in the know in general, is it can get very chaotic and messy, but if there's I don't know, if everyone, I like the idea. I think people should be in charge of single characters, kind of.
Yeah,
in a way.
I think also you should always just in general have a co-writer or just at least an editor or somebody that looks over your story from a third person
beta reader.
Yeah, or a beta reader or somebody to look over it, because you can get so sucked into your world and your story and you know what's going on, but if you give it to somebody who doesn't know what's going on and say, hey, is this okay? Does this make sense? They'll be able to point out okay, I don't understand this, I don't understand that, I think this could be worked on better, and actually make your story better. So I'd always advocate for having somebody look over your work and see if it makes sense. Sometimes it makes sense to you, but it doesn't make sense to somebody who doesn't understand what's going on.
Yeah. And it's nice to have that community in which if you look out there, some people are down to read their work. Again, no one's obligated to, because especially a lot of this is volunteer work, and we're doing this out of the kindness of our own hearts, or our own passion deep in our souls, or something like that. The story that we're choosing to tell is it's very collaborative, and you all get to work in different parts. Again, it's just cool.
Yeah.
And I like that experience.
Fun being in charge of one character and seeing their development, and the power of improv is always really fun, because goofy things happen without you intending it to happen, and that's like something that you can't write, and that's really fun. That's what I enjoy most about D&D is like basically the aspect of whatever draws everyone to D&D is I can literally do anything I want. If I want to kick a baby, I can kick a baby. Sure, there'll be consequences just like there are in real life, but I can do it.
Yeah, like you can play your character and there will be consequences for like making him a certain way. There's a very important thing that happens in the story that was just improv. I did not intend that at all, and it happened anyway.
Yep, it was a session that I didn't have, I had one sentence outlined for, and then it was like combusted into craziness, and was like, whoa!
Yeah, like inter-party conflict and stuff where everyone's yelling at each other and being like, screw you, you stupid girl!
Yep. And I did not even think it would happen, but it did because that's the power of improv, and it just like continued on. There's a lot of not even knowing where things will go, but they just go a certain way. And even if you didn't expect it, it sometimes works. It'll work out for the better, or it'll tell you, okay, maybe this wasn't necessary.
Like, this is a very on-the-nose advice, but, like, if you're stuck on a story idea, element, or plot point, like, honestly, just role-play it out. It sounds really stupid, but, like, so many good things have been done, like, with improv. And, like, you can always, like, look back on it and, like, see, oh, this part I want to fix. There's an inconsistency with this and that. And, like, just having recorded, like, free flow is so helpful. Just, like, that's why it's always key advice to, like, just word dump on like a page and write until you can't write no more kind of thing.
Honestly, the best way to write is just write and then go back and edit later. Because you can edit for forever. Just get all the ideas out and then be like, okay, like what can I use and what can I not use? Because that's what's great.
There's a lot of other role-playing systems out there, but like D&D is like one of the core ones, and like people are probably tired of hearing it if you haven't played it. If you have played it, you understand.
Yeah.
Is the thing.
It's very fun. It's a great way to bond with people.
Mm-hmm. It also just involves a lot of trust too between like players and the DM itself. Like you gotta trust that the story is going to go where it goes.
Also, communication. Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like D&D in general has made me a better communicator.
Especially if like someone does something and it steps on another player's toes, it's like, okay, maybe we don't do that. And it doesn't, and it's better to just get it out there instead of keeping it in and then oops, if things spiral. Like that's no. Just talk about things.
Because at the end of the day, D&D is supposed to be fun. And if you're not having fun, then don't play.
Yes, as with telling any story, no one is obligated to stick to it.
These are all passion projects, and like you don't have money on the line here. No one's gonna lose their job. So why not make it something that like you actually enjoy doing?
Welcome to our intermission. Feel free to pause the episode for a bit, drink water, get a snack, take care of yourself. We'll be right back. Yay! All right. So let's go to a thing that I'm trying out called on the spot voice reel. So in a way, we are all voice actors. Trank, would you like to demonstrate? Would you like to be our guinea pig?
I don't even have that many voices, but I guess I can try.
Are you ready to hello? I am this voice for 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Oh boy. Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, I'm this voice. I had to. Hello, I guess I'm this voice. I don't have that many. Hello, I'm this voice. Hello, I'm this voice. Hello, I'm this voice. hello, I'm.
You gotta do Flair.
Miss Ferocia. I'm gonna do my Miss Ferocia ripoff.
Do Flair.
Hello, I'm Miss Voice.
Beautiful.
What else do I even
You have 45 seconds.
You have Flair.
Flair was literally just like, hello, I'm this voice. It's just an emo voice.
Do you remember iconic lines?
Like, hello, I'm this voice, like a little bit higher up. Iconic lines. No, I can't do that one. I know what you were gonna say. Shit, iconic lines. I can't think of anything. Wait. N? What kind of name is N?
That's what I was gonna suggest.
Wait, what's the line? 1 second. Let me find that real quick. It's so stupid. Okay, 1 second. Just 2 seconds. I just gotta find this line.
The timer went off.
Just
so
this
funny.
line.
Wait, what
and
is
then
the
I'm
line?
done.
Yeah.
Just this line.
It's a perfect line.
Put him back from where he came from. You know, if we put you back where you came from, that'd be the goddamn alphabet. What kind of name is N?
That's an amazing line.
It's so good. Ugh, if you leave me alone, it's Navri. Now get out of my fucking way.
It's so funny.
Emma, you're
Hi.
up next. Hello.
Have fun for your million voices.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi, I'm this voice. Hi, I'm this voice. Hi, I'm this voice. Oh my gosh, your dog is so cute. Can I pet him? Oh wait, that's a dog. Sorry, I'm stupid. Hello. Okay, bye. Watering some bread. Hey, that's fine. I like the watering bread. I'm Miss Ferocia. You know, sometimes I think that my friends are trying to stab me in the back, but that's probably not true. Probably. I love Samson. What else do I got? Oh yeah, the demented one that doesn't make any sense. I can't say anything with this one.
Chloe! You can do Chloe.
Oh yeah, Chloe. I haven't done Chloe in like forever. Oh my goodness. Crazy. Oh yeah, I can do this one, which is like a discount Chloe voice that I use for a robot. A British version of the robot voice. That one's, I don't know, try making it British. When in doubt, make it British.
Make it Southern.
Make it Southern. Put on your little cowboy hat and give it a little tip. Little assy. You can slow it down and drop it or something on the floor and then pick it back up. Or I don't know. I'm just saying words. Words are coming out of my mouth.
Words.
I had one and I lost it.
What was the last one? It went off. The timer's done.
Crap. I don't know.
You lost it. Oh my god.
What was it? Crap. No, now it's gonna bother me. It's a
Xylan?
character. I was gonna do Lillian.
Oh, Lillian.
Yeah.
Lillian.
Xylan. I did Xylan.
Yeah, I was thinking that was basically
yeah. I was gonna do Lillian. I forgot Lillian.
Soul,
Why?
you're
Why?
next.
You're a
No.
voice actor.
But I don't have that many voices.
Okay, and Trank did it and it worked out fine. You'll be fine.
I'm gonna be slow though because I'm slow.
That's fine.
Okay.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Obviously, we got to start off with the good shot. And then we're gonna go around and do something like this. Definitely Finn voice where the character came from.
What is a iconic line for Rel? What's an iconic line from them?
Stop your stupid screaming.
Wait, oh yeah, that one. What is it?
Your screams are irritating.
Yes. I do not care, but your screams of pain are an irritation to me, peasant.
Damn.
Okay, man, chill. I didn't know that calling you man would be an insult. Sorry. Let's see.
What was that?
What's your
Oh.
I also have this voice, and I would really appreciate it if you gave me all your cookies and all your sweets.
Oh yes, I could draw this voice out of the pit and barely do it correctly, like how I remember I did it, but this exists if anyone remembers it. I guess generic evil villain voice, free, that I've done multiple times.
Oh yeah, I also do like a really shitty Ash Ketchum impression for every little boy I do. Yeah.
And then if we go deeper with it, we get the if we go deeper with it, we get the chain smoker.
I think that's a very high note, ironically enough, to leave that on. Wow. I guess for first episode's sake, I can do it.
Yes,
Why not?
good. You better.
All right, we'll see what I can whip out. Hello, I am this voice. This is just my regular voice. Cool.
Cheater.
It counts. Shut up. That's so mean of you. This is the Navri voice. This is like the low and just the back of the throat. Hello, I am this voice. Oh, if you leave me alone, it's Navri. Okay, yeah.
And the stroke.
And I can also play like children like decently well. Hello, I am this voice. Hello, I am this voice. This is Jasmine. This is also like, I don't know, this was Christelle's like old child voice, I think. Hello, I am this voice.
Wait, I need to do my boy voice. Oh my god. Hi. I can't do it on the spot. I also had a very weird German accent situation going on, so I don't know. I haven't done this one in quite a while. So yeah, that's fun. Hello, I am this voice.
That's Batman. Batman.
I love the overly growly voice. It's so fun. I also just like playing like androgynous characters like that just have the like a more breathy tone to it, and yeah. And that my alarm went off. Okay. That goes by so much faster than it was for tracking down with you. Voice acting is fun, guys. 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. You get to be silly. So for a curiosity Q&A, we pull questions from Discord members. From Twilight Inari, for everyone, do you know anyone who has been inspired or impacted in any way by your series or even by your last podcast episode?
I don't know about the last episode. I know there have been people like that were in my server and like community stuff for Topaz that would like, they would do kind of like sort of, you know, like fan works sort of stuff, which was always cool to see. Or like even people who just draw the characters a lot and stuff and like really like to do that was really cool. And I did see like, I think like with some of like between some of my friends and stuff, like I think there was like we kind of got inspired by each other in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, I had like, and I'm still honored that people even did this, but like people made like whole freaking fan comics. I was always really excited to see because they were just like so cool, and I'm like, oh my god. Obviously, some of them I feel like utilized the characters better than I did and gave them like deeper personalities and stuff, and I really like seeing that, and it was just awesome to like witness. And then I'm not taking credit because I don't know if they were like typically inspired by me or something else to make their mystery series, but I have seeing more of them pop up, which is always nice. And I think it's cool to like see that and stuff. Again, I'm not taking credit like that they were inspired.
I think you should.
Okay. Guys, I know I'm like so great. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I do know that there was at least one that like put you in the description as I don't remember what its name was.
I sent it to you. Oh my god!
I don't know what it was.
What was it, like Falling Leaves? I think. God, I never thought that I would be that person for someone else. So it's really cool. So I know of people that have been. I don't know them like personally or anything, but like I got inspired off my friends, and I feel like my friends have inspired me, and vice versa. So yeah, it's what comes around goes around. Don't gatekeep art. It's meant to be shared.
My story didn't really get out beyond my friends, so my friends, I think.
I mean, with your voice acting, it was like I don't know, like you guys just in general like inspired me to like go out more of my range, and like, you know, that comfortability is important, so you can just like be all jazzy and just like try things out and be silly and not be judged for it. So that's just really important. From Great Pizza, questions for all of you guys. What is your favorite step of the animating process, or just the drawing process in general? Which of those steps take the longest and fastest?
I feel like it kind of varies. Sometimes it's been coloring. It's usually either like coloring or shading. I've liked coloring more though, weirdly, which is kind of a first, but I've always disliked line art the most. That's the universal one. It's always the one that takes the longest too. And yeah, coloring's always like the fastest, which I think is what I enjoy about it a lot. Is it's like do 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 do.
My favorite step of the animating process is sketching. I like putting it together and like figuring it out and doing like the hard part of like how does it move and like how to fix it and stuff. And I like a lot of the planning process that comes with animating and sketching. When it comes to like illustrations, like just single piece illustrations, I like rendering or shading the best. It's just fun. I've grown a lot. I've been having a lot more fun with it lately and just trying new things with it and stuff. And then if it comes to backgrounds, I oddly enough like line art the best because I kind of made a new method to making backgrounds that I've really enjoyed, which was like blocking out the shapes and then just skipping the sketching section altogether and then just going straight into line art, which has made it like a lot more fun. And then I also like using the brush that I used for line art for my backgrounds a lot more. So it varies depending on what I'm drawing, but that's typically what I like the best.
That's cool.
Well, I don't animate, so I do tween when I do get to tweening, I guess. So, and that is a valid form of animation. And I honestly like tweening a lot. It's very fun, and I do wish I do it more. But it's very fun to like plot out the frames and kind of like tweening. It's an art where it's like, it can look really janky if you don't know what you're doing, and you'll just have characters sliding everywhere. And if you do it too much, like what I would do, where I'd shove too much into one, like I would shove too many shots into like 2 seconds, so they'd be like spinning at the speed of light. But when you get it right, you can actually get some pretty natural motions. And I've seen people basically mimic like a puppet rig with tweening alone, though. So that's what I definitely find fun. For illustrations, shading is my favorite, actually. I love coming up with the colors and stuff, and when it comes out right, it just is really fun. And using like the right brushes as well. I have like 2 styles, where one's more of like the hard cell shading, and the other is like more soft kind of painted feel. I have a lot of fun blending it out and getting everything to look just, when it looks good, and I love it. Least favorite part, the universal line art, as Trank said. I hate it. It's, if I could get into it and I get a flow going, it can be kind of a cool thing to turn your brain off to. Otherwise, no. It's tedious. It's because I already made this in the sketch. I don't want to do it again.
Yeah, for me, I kind of just like had like lately, I mean, by lately, I think I started doing this last year, of like, sometimes if I really am lazy with it, like my sketch becomes the line art itself. And I like the pencil tool I have in Fire Alpaca, so it kind of works. From Rocky Stone 99, any advice for fast or smooth or efficient workflow?
I feel like it's kind of a skill in a lot of ways, where it's something you have to build up and just kind of work on over time. It just kind of is a matter of focusing on, it's kind of hard to give advice for, at least for me, because it's just kind of something you have to really like train yourself for, and just kind of take time and just work out. There are a lot of different methods, and it's just kind of whatever works for you of how to stay focused on a project for an amount of time. Like for certain people, if you get distracted when you're in it and you can't just take a certain amount of time to be in it, then you're taken out of your workflow. And for some people, you can kind of you just needed to do it in like sporadic bits and just really hone in on those bits. And then I'm kind of the type of person that I really like to finish something that I start that day. And so I just kind of go at something, I get everything I need done. sometimes. And then I just kind of go for it. And I guess you kind of just develop like animation shortcuts, like as you learn, and you just kind of, it's just kind of a matter of like trying to see where you can kind of take things easier without diminishing the quality. Like, you know, like one thing I know that Irma did was sketch every lip sync, every mouth for lip sync, where it's like, you don't really have to do that kind of a thing.
Why do you use me as an example?
That was the first thing that popped in my head.
Throwing me under the bus there.
I know I've done it before, but you're the easy one.
I didn't realize I was wearing a red and white shirt with a dot in the middle.
Yes, you are. So just don't be Irma.
I'm a lot better now.
That's a pretty good life advice there.
Now I just need to recover. No, I'm just kidding.
Too bad.
Advice? I draw every day. That would be my advice. It doesn't even have to be good drawings. Just doodle every day. It builds up a stamina. You don't run a marathon in a day. Like, that just doesn't happen. So yeah, just getting the kinks worked out, not sketching every mouth for every line art, for every lip sync thing. That helps. And you just get into a flow where like you can start to cut the corners on things. You can start to like, not need to sketch every little thing and just move straight to line art and become more confident in yourself and your art ability. And it's just something that naturally happens as you grow as an artist.
Yeah, you put your mind to it and just do what feels right. If you really have a passion for art, then there's really nothing to worry about as long as you keep at it and you self-discipline yourself. Even if it might be easier to be like, sometimes you just gotta push your way through it.
Make bad art.
Yeah, don't do that. It's bad. It's bad.
Particular, but I'm talking to someone.
Yeah, it's okay to make whatever art, you know, even if it's trash. And don't delete it if you don't want your friends to kill. I mean, just don't delete it because you should keep the memories and live and well. Even if you cringe now, you'll look back and be like, look how I've grown, and it's cool.
And someone's bad art is another person's treasure. That's totally how the saying goes, right? From Garden Salad, what have you been told is an artistic strength of yours, and what do you believe your strength is?
I don't know. I guess a lot of my strength comes in my workflow in a way. I've kind of been working on rebalancing it as I'm getting busier with life.
Your worth ethic was crazy, but to call it ethic is probably very loose on the line. It was kind of insane.
It was concerning.
It was garbage. So I was just rushing it out. I mean, I don't know. I was very, very like, I wanted to do. I think I worried too much about getting it done in a certain amount of time.
I guess recently my ability to fill plot holes. I don't know. It's something weird I didn't realize is a skill that I had, but I've done it so often now. I've busted out the shovel and filled a bunch of plot holes. That's more in the writing department than the illustration department.
I definitely put a lot into my characters. I put a lot into like their mindsets and trying to make sure like everything things make sense, that their motivations are clear and what turned them into them is clear, and like giving them like complex dynamic personalities that are like fun and interesting to look at is what like I've always been interested in, I guess, where my strong suit comes.
So for our last segment, I've endearingly titled it "Flip the Switch" because the light bulb metaphors, I can't get enough of them. Sol is nodding in disapproval, but it's called "Flip the Switch." What's your advice for the community to hear?
I can go first for once this time.
Okay,
we'll go reverse.
Yeah, let's reverse it.
Reverse it.
Any form of story is valid. If a series doesn't work out for you and the workload is just too much, or it's not something that your motivation will put you through, that doesn't mean that any other form is invalid. You don't need to make this grand giant series for it to be a good thing. You can just do what works best for you and what makes you the happiest, because at the end of the day, that's what matters. The story is for others. Yes, you like seeing other people enjoy it, but you have to enjoy the process too. So don't force yourself to try to do something just because everyone else does it and you think that's the only way to do it.
I think the best place to start is starting and then working out the details later. I think I said this in my previous podcast episode, but you don't need to have like every intricate detail of your story pointed out point per point. Like going into it, I think it's important to have at least at some point. But just like basically like starting like with you do with art just in general, you start broad and then you narrow in on the little details. Don't start on the little details and then get broad, because that makes it a little difficult. Like we've all accidentally done that when making an art piece, where you make a little detail and then you're like, crap, well, my character's blocking it. So why did I even make that in the first place? I spent hours on that and the character's in the way. You know, you start broad and you get more specific. Just make sure you do a lot of research on the topics that you're covering. I think especially if you're going to touch like touchy subjects or something like that, I think it's important, like especially if you're not just if you're taking like a more darker tone with a story, but just like in general. Like I think if you don't know about something, put in the time, put in the research, make sure you really know about the topic that you're talking about, so that way either your characters don't look stupid, and then because people will notice this kind of stuff since we're talking about specifics. But yeah, I think doing your research on topics and stuff and stories that you want to cover is also really important. So yeah, have fun with it. Having fun's important, because at the end of the day, no one's going to care about your project more than you. And so you should have fun with it.
Yep. I guess going off of that, yeah, like I guess the thing that comes to my mind, in light of us canceling our things, it just kind of my thought in terms of the whole having fun with it thing. I mean, like, especially when life gets more busy, like you should really only spend your time in your free time doing something that you really like to do. So nowadays I'm just working on projects that I really like to do. And once I stopped having fun with Topeth, then I stopped doing it. And as embarrassed I am about it now, it is probably mostly just, that kind of, okay, I'm coming out of it type of thing. I can't believe I spent so long on that, but I had fun with it at the time and I met some great people through it. And I had fun throwing my ideas at the wall and not making something really that good, because at the end of the day, I was a kid and I was just doing fun kid things and doing a little silly Sparkle Cat show. And I definitely have some like regrets with it and stuff, but like I'm glad I did it, obviously. And I'm just also glad that I'm not holding myself towards just keeping doing it, because I mean, a lot of people, when you cancel a show and you say that you're done with it for good, kind of come and are like, oh, well, can't you continue it in this way, this way, this way, this way? And like I've said before, I've just moved on and I just don't want to touch it anymore. I just don't really like anything about it. The most I take from it is little concepts from it here and there. There are a few concepts I kind of like. But I think that it's okay to just kind of move on and just want to do a different thing instead. And yeah, I mean, that's part of it, is just let yourself do what's the most fun, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Like, I know it's kind of funny with, like, the whole Creator's Lightbulb thing about being, like, how to start, like, inspirations and stuff like that. So, like, to a casual person listening into this, you may think that the cancellations are like, oh, what a downer. Like, what's the point? Like, that is not the point at all.
No.
Guys.
I'm excited for what I can do now. I'm excited. We've learned lessons from the shows that we have created. We learned lessons that we can now take on to the next project that we're working on, and make it better, make it good, make it like for example, a big flaw in TMA ODDC are the characters. And now I think I've developed some of my favorite characters I've ever created, and I think they're well developed. And so it's just learning lessons and building on those lessons to make a story even better. So it's not always sad.
Completely agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think of it as just moving on to better things. And plus, everyone got to enjoy it while I was there, so it was still something good at the end of the day. Things were still done, and it's just another stepping stone in the learning process to make better things at the end of the day. So it's really not that sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't start, you can never enjoy it. You never like I am satisfied with the fact, I know, speaking personally from like the Dream Warrior and its very unsure status of that, of like, if at the time this episode comes out, I decide to like fully cancel it or like however it's going, like, I'm happy that I was able to at least complete like one episode, and that's something I never thought that I would do. I can barely get like an AMV out. Like they always start off as like sketches or like a rough storyboard, and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. So the fact that I was able to get, even if like mine is like picture styled, like, or PMV styled, like the fact, like it's still a big monument to like your motivation and determination and just like what you are capable of doing, and just like it's not the end of something, it's only the beginning, which sounds really cheesy, but it's so true because of all the things we have in store.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Creators Lightbulb, hosted by Gigi and today's guests, TranquilSatisfaction, Ermadragon7, and Solielix. I always love having these discussions with my friends, and the catch-up is nice, and just generally talking with them is incredible. Dear listener, I hope you found what you were looking for and enjoyed our discussion. If you did, please stick around for more. Subscribe and stay alert for the next episode by following Creators Lightbulb on Instagram and literally wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find me on Instagram and YouTube as Gigi Silver Emblem. At the time of recording, you can find both Irma and Trank on their collab channel, now titled Tranquil Dragon. Very fitting.
Well, I only really have a YouTube channel and Instagram. Mine are both just TranquilSatisfaction, no spaces. And yeah.
I am Ermadragon7 on YouTube and Instagram.
I am Solielix on Instagram and YouTube, though my YouTube's not very active right now. Maybe it'll be in the future.
Awesome. All right, everybody, I think that's it. I hope you have a good day. Create and ignite. Remember to stay bright.